Hello, Wellness Check Wednesdays community. We wanted to take a moment to remind you that while our podcast serves as a safe space for open discussions and sharing experiences, we are not mental health experts. This podcast is a platform for you to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a judgment-free zone. Our aim is to foster connection, provide support, and create a sense of community. It's crucial to acknowledge that we are not a substitute for professional mental health advice or treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health challenges, we strongly encourage seeking guidance from qualified professionals. Remember, reaching out to mental health experts can make a significant difference. If you ever feel the need, don't hesitate to connect with a licensed therapist, counselor, or healthcare professional.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.
Well. Woo! Another week, another Wednesday. I think my head is on straight somewhat. I think my mentals might be right. But the reason why we join and meet up on this Wednesday at 6 p.m. every week, and we're gonna stay consistent with it, despite all of my different things going on, is so that we continue this mental health journey that we're on. This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. I am the moderator. You should recognize my voice by now. You might not recognize it because, losing it just a little bit under the weather. This weather is not playing around. Eddie, you can take this weather back. I never asked for this.
Yeah, I never brought it down there. I never brought it down. I'm up here. See, the weather fiasco after Thanksgiving, y'all, okay, I'll take blame for that. My ass is up in Ohio. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
I'm just saying, bro, it ain't been right since you came down there, but it's okay. I ain't gonna blame you for it. Well, actually, I just did, but it is what it is.
What else is new?
Oh man. We meet again on this Wednesday, and we encourage each and every one, all of our listeners, all of our followers, all of our subscribers, as always, let's check in. Let's go down this journey. Let's travel a little bit. And speaking of, I'm here in Fayetteville. It shouldn't be this cold, but it is what it is. I think there was a little bit of snow that caused quite a few accidents here in Fayetteville. That's what I'm saying. Y'all can have this back because we don't know what to do down there.
Sure don't.
Yeah, but with that being said, let's travel by way of Cleveland, Ohio, one of the originators of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, none other than my man, Edwin Farini.
As Brian mentioned, it is cold. It is cold up here. I think it's through snowing for the time being. Other than that, man, living, breathing, alive, can't complain. Did anything monumental happen last week? No, nothing too crazy. Back to work, back to the grind. Starting the 13th, little quick announcement. Myself and Miss Nikki Red, we will be debuting our first episode on the radio on WDRBmedia.com, the Porch Perspectives podcast, which means you can listen to it online at WDRBmedia.com. Just hit the click here to listen button, and you can check us out on the TuneIn app as well too. So yeah, that's it was very fun putting our first episode together. I'm looking forward to it. That's one of many things I got going on in 2025. I told you I'm coming in 2025 hot and heavy. I'm grabbing this bull by the horns and I'm gonna shake it. You know what? Anyways, but hey, look, like I said, man, I'm on it. I'm on it in 2025, and yeah, man. Blessed in the words of Kevin, blessed and highly flavored. I had to do it.
You did not have to do that. That was highly unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
Man, I
not
unnecessary.
Oh yeah, unnecessary.
Oh yeah, that's a throwback.
That's a throwback, Brad. We'll tell you about that later.
Man, oh man, congratulations to you, Ed. I know you've been working hard with your podcasting game, and I will definitely do my best to tune in and listen.
11 a.m. every Monday, WDRBmedia.com.
Also, we're going to take a trip to parts unknown in Oklahoma. My man B3, Brad, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good on this Wellness Check Wednesday. Just dealing with the cold out here. I think it's the first true week of freezing weather, and that wind is no joke.
Oh, man. God, it is affecting all of us, but I'm not trying to tell everybody to stay warm. If you don't need to travel, don't.
So,
If I didn't have to make this money, I'd be staying myself inside right now. But I'll be doing the karaoke thing like I always do on Wednesdays after this. But yeah, keeping the grind moving, keeping the grind moving. Speaking of the grind, with this episode 51 of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, we're going to talk about the grind because I believe all of us, Kevin included, we have our main gig, we have our main job, we may not, but we are entrepreneurs. We are trying to make our own thing. Like we're trying to expand our horizon, our respective businesses. Now, with that being said, entrepreneurship, and let me before I continue with this, to all of the aspiring rappers, and drug dealers, and all of the above, you're not entrepreneurs. Let me start right there. Like, just let me. I'm talking about being really on the grind. Like you have a business model, LLC, business cards. You have the logos. That's being an entrepreneur. So I may sound like I'm hating. I ain't hating. I'm just saying some people be throwing around that entrepreneurship word out there so much that it has a negative connotation. And I want to correct that. Being an entrepreneur, being a business person, owning your own business, there are levels to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're trying to catch a hot date and you go, oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, that means you ain't got no job. Let's not do that. Being an entrepreneur, there's levels to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So being an entrepreneur, that's step one right there. People taking you seriously when it comes to your business and your brand, because people do have that negative connotation. And so what we want to talk about today is the entrepreneurship and the effect on mental health and all the things that come along with that, being a true entrepreneur. I'm going to pass the mic over to my man Edwin as he opines a little bit further on this subject and tells us a little bit more about being an entrepreneur and how to deal with it when it comes to your mental health. Yes, sir.
All right, B Live. I'm gonna let you rest a little spell, as the old folks say. Let you clear your throat and get some water. Oh, see what I did there? Yeah, being an entrepreneur is something is quite of a challenge. I never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur, but I'm like, wait a minute, if people are calling me asking about my skills and my talents, then I'm pretty much am an entrepreneur, but I'm not over here telling people, oh, I got a business this, I got a business that. I just tell people what I do. Once everything becomes official, like B Live said, get that LLC, business plan, business cards, legitimate, because a lot of times, like B-Live said, people throw that title around. I mean, I got an idea. You want to get a date? Just be you. It works for your boy. I ain't gonna lie to you. It works for your boy. It works for me altogether. So, Brad does this thing in the photography world. B-Live does this thing in digital media production. I do my thing on the radio, podcast, and everything else in between. So, and then Kevin, he has his lawn care business and, his other ventures as well, too. So the article that I found is from LinkedIn.com, AKA somebody hire me, please, because I need a better job than one that I got now. All right. And it is the unseen struggle, entrepreneurs and their mental health. It is by Tina Balachandran. All right. And she is the founder and co-founder and managing partner of Clinical. It doesn't say her title, but yeah, Flourishing Minds Clinic. All right. So let me hit the back button because I haven't been doing too much. All right, so here we go. And our article says, as an entrepreneur in the mental health space, I understand firsthand the unique pressures and challenges that come with building and sustaining a business. Entrepreneurship is often romanticized, as Beli said, as a path to freedom and financial independence, and glamorized. Well, actually, that's what Beli meant, glamorized, as the pinnacle of professional success. The idea of building something from the ground up, creating jobs and sustaining them in innovating ways that can change the world is undeniably appealing. But the reality is far more complex. The mental toll can be substantial, affecting not only the entrepreneur, but also their relationships and overall well-being. And it talks about the pressures that people go through and everything as far as trying to um, become an entrepreneur, because it is extremely, extremely challenging. And she mentioned such things such as effective strategies for managing mental health and prioritizing self-care. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to glance over real quick. Building a support network, professional help, and counseling. And then having that work-life balance. Let me read that real quick, because that's something we all kind of struggle with. Striving for a healthy work-life balance is essential. Setting boundaries between work and personal life can help ensure that neither area is neglected. This might involve setting specific work hours, taking weekends off, and dedicating time to hobbies and family. Dedicating time to hobbies and families. I believe this is one of the most important aspects, as this sets the stage for much needed self-care. When you're a high functioning perfectionist like me, like she is, not me, because I ain't perfect at all. You sometimes need to wait. You need a wake up call. She says in her case, her physical health, to take stock in a different way. I'm still a work in progress, as I can easily get carried away by the need to do more, support more, but I'm more mindful about the need to create that balance. We're gonna focus in on that real quick, and then also I found another article, and I'm gonna give you guys some numbers as well too. And this is from LinkedIn as well too. The 11 Scary Truths About Mental Health and Entrepreneurship and What to Do About It, by Yale Benjamin, and also by Jonathan Fields. So I saw some numbers here. Okay. So in his recent episode of his podcast on the Spark podcast, he spoke with Yale Benjamin, the founder of Startup Snapshot, who is on a mission to pull back the curtain on the toll entrepreneurship takes on mental health. She just concluded some powerful and eye-opening research, and here are some of her findings that were gathered via a digital survey from a wide community of startup founders around the globe. 72% of founders struggle with mental health. 37% suffer from anxiety. 36% experience burnout. 10% have panic attacks. 54% of founders are very stressed about their business, with fear of failure being the main stressor. 81% of founders hide their stress, fears, and challenges from others, and more than half of their stresses from their own co-founders. 77% of founders refuse to seek qualified professional help. Younger founders associate a greater stigma in seeking help than older ones, and male founders are nearly twice as likely to hold stigma around seeking help as female founders. More than 50% of founders lose sleep since founding their companies, and that number skyrockets in step with the amount of money raised. 47% of founders exercise less. Um, when they needed the most for their mental health, they did it before founding their companies. Founders spend 60% less time with spouses, 58% less time with kids, 73 less time with friends and family, and the average level of loneliness is reported at a 7.6 out of 10. And finally, 93% of founders will do it all again, even in light of so many forms of suffering. So, this article also has some other ways of talking about psychological toll. So I gave you a story, fellas, and I gave you some numbers, and of course I have a story of my own as well too, as some of you may already know. You guys know, and our listeners may know, that I got my hands on a lot of stuff between the radio station, several podcasts, helping at my church and work. Recently I was asked a lot the last 3.5 to 4 days, and I had to set that boundary down. I had to say no, because I don't mind, but when I want to have that time for me, I want to have that time for me. You know, I was supposed to record something with someone today, and they had something to do. I said, well, okay, well, let's go ahead and push to Thursday night at 6 because I'm off that Thursday night at 6. And whatever they had to do in the early, oh, well, we can record today. No, no, no. It's just the boundary is set. And, you know, I was told, hey, you know, you can, you know, ain't no rest for the weary. So here's the deal. So here's the deal about rest for the weary and hustle culture. First of all, don't get too caught up in hustle culture because it's not healthy for you to begin with. You have to have that adequate work-life balance. Also, you have to set a certain levels of boundaries. If I can do it, yes. If I can't do it, no. And whenever you ask me if it's not coinciding with what I have to do, no. Think about it. I'm a human being, I'm one person. I live alone. I still have to clean my, you know, my living quarters. I have to do laundry, buy groceries, pay bills, and live a life outside of what of what I'm doing. And another thing is when Eddie does not get his rest, two things happen, or several things happen. Eddie gets tired, tired. Eddie gets easily aggravated, which means if you breathe wrong, I'm on it. Okay. And I get sick. I'm not trying to do all that trying to chase a dream and make things happen, which means no one's going to take care of me like me. So with that being said, I have to set that boundary. Also, another thing, if you need me to do something, let's talk a week in advance. Usually my schedule for my 9 to 5 comes out on Friday. I can look at it. Okay, we're going to do this here, this here, this here, this here, because I hate to hog the time, but you know, Mondays and Wednesdays are off limits because Mondays I record Sports Bros podcast. I edit it that night for it to drop Tuesday morning. Wednesdays, I record the Connoisseurs Wellness Check Wednesday with you guys. And also I record the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling, which means from 6 to whatever time this podcast ends, I have a small window, and then 10 o'clock that night, we're back at it again. So I'm already pressed for time. So if you need something from me, let me know a week to 3 weeks or a month in advance so I can plan accordingly. Prime example, somebody reached out to me about hosting a cornhole draft in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Shout out to the Speakeasy Cornhole Club. And the guy said February 22nd. He told me this way back in December. That's the time I need. That's the time I need so I can properly plan, properly save, and move forward like that. People, you have to be aware and cognizant of other people's time. You have to. Don't waste it. Don't force it. And don't try to squeeze your way. Look, if I say we're recording on Thursday, we're recording on Thursday unless something pops up and we can't do it. I might be able to shuffle some things around once, but 2 or 3 times, can't do it. Can't do it. So you just have to be mindful and respectful of people's time. Brad, what say you about the stressors of entrepreneurship and people just straight up respecting your time?
Yeah, I mean, you always want your time to be respected because that's, you know, that's something you really can't get back at all, especially if somebody wastes your time. You know, dealing with it like kind of on the entrepreneurship side because I have my regular day job, but then also have other, you know, the other ventures that were mentioned previously. And man, let me tell you, it's a little stressful because right now I will be open and say like, you know, the whole merch thing that I launched, you know, thinking, yeah, everything's gonna be cool, everything's gonna be great, it's gonna be easy to launch. It is not easy. Especially if nobody's buying your stuff. That's when it's like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Did I market this wrong? Was I at fault somewhere? Is this not catching on? Or people just being people and ignoring things? Or the holidays getting everybody, you know, things like that. So then you shift into like, you know, panic/drastic mindset. And I don't want this to sound like a shameless plug, but it slightly is. Everything in the store is 50% off if you want to go get something. So
there it is, 50% off. Go get it. We'll leave the link in the description box.
Everything is 50% off. So if you wanted that beanie for the winter, cool, get it. It's only like $15. So hey, stay warm out there. I'd rather have somebody get something and say, "Oh man, this kept me warm throughout the winter," versus somebody not getting it and
Mm.
missing on their opportunity to do so. The whole photo thing, I just kind of put that to the side and just leave it for project stuff, just as I don't have the motivation entirely. I
Mm.
don't really entirely have the motivation, although it should be there. The projects are kind of my sole focus right now, and books and stuff. So
It be like that at time, trying to find that, and that's another thing, trying to stay motivated. Sometimes, you wake up and like, okay, I'm ready to take on the world. I'm gonna be, kick ass Butkowski. I'm gonna do it all. But then it's kind of like, I ain't with it today.
Hmm.
You might be with it 2 days after that. I ain't with it today. This kind of like me and this whole music thing is. B Live can tell you, I've been doing this whole rap thing for like, off and on for the past 20 plus years. When I was on it, I'm on it. That's the best time to
Right.
catch me. But like, matter of fact, I think the longest period of time I've went without writing or going to the studio was 2016 to maybe early 2018. And I think around 2018, that kind of helped me out because that's when we found out about my mom's stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And so I would spend a lot of time in South Carolina going to the studio. Shout out to my man Lamario Beats, my partner in Ryan. I would go to his studio and just write, 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 write. I mean, I even felt bad one day. I was home and I was like, I said, Mom, you good? I'm about to go to the studio. You good? Because I didn't want to go. And my mama said, son, you love your music. I'll be fine. You go to the studio. Never before told story. And so the studio is my place of peace, and I get to, I put nothing out in a while. I mean, I have enough music to put out something probably at the end of the year, which is something I might do. But like as far as like writing a song, like at this point in time, I mean, I got to be inspired. I got to be inspired.
Uh, I could tell you this from an entrepreneurial standpoint. I've done the restaurants. I've done the corporate America. I worked for Apple. I've worked for Office Depot before. I've done a lot of different things, IT support and stuff like that. My big push right now is to do something to build something for myself. And that's the biggest pressure that comes to me being an entrepreneur. Like I don't have the desire anymore to work for corporate America because I feel like I'm pursuing someone else's dream as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
my own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as much as it is important that you pay the bills, I that's why I put forth the extra effort that I do. And I've had setbacks. I've had this. I've had that. I still got some things that I'm in the fire and everything. That is the additional pressure because I feel like if if me being an entrepreneur doesn't work, then I'm just falling back into a cycle of doing stuff that I don't want to do, and just sort of,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes a mental toll on me, is because I I don't want to do that no more.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy, like, the creations that I make, the video editing, the digital media stuff that I do, and I'm looking at ways on how to expand that. And so certain things that I'm still waiting on in the wash. But yeah, it does come with an additional amount of pressure. I used to live my life where it was all good with the little bit that I was making, and I just go through the cycle, go through the motion. I was okay with that until I wasn't. Until I look back and I'm like, what exactly have I accomplished? I can spit off a resume that may look and sound great to people, but what exactly have I accomplished for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a portfolio. Now I have stuff that I've done for multiple companies and stuff like that. And I'm still debating on, am I going to do full entrepreneurship, or am I going to I'm still debating on that. Um, but one thing that I am going to do is I'm going to do what I enjoy. I can't go back to this, and it's tough. There's a lot of pressure that comes with that because at the end of the day, there's a very famous phrase: you got to get in where you can fit in, especially when it comes to this world that we live in. So, one thing I do encourage everyone, and I will also say this: not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody can do it. You got to have a plan. You got to have solid, reachable, attainable goals. You can't see what you see on TV and think that that's going to suffice. You can't look at social media and think that's how the world actually works, because it does not. And it's one of those things where some of these, oh man, I see it a lot when it comes to influencers, social media, marketing, personalities and stuff like that. Here today, gone tomorrow. And it's sometimes it's very sad. Like some people, like even on my own social medias, there's certain people that I do follow. They make me laugh, and it adds towards my daily walk of life. I love laughter, and I follow people on these different social media sites, and then next thing you know, I'm like, I haven't heard from them in a while, and then I get to thinking, I'm like, oh boy, the creative juices ran out. What do you do now? And so I've had to make a shift in my entrepreneurship, like exactly like the product that I produce, because I've tried the social media, growing social. I'm like, that ain't me. I really, to be honest with you, social media, as far as like being an influencer and doing stuff like that, and content creation, that's the word. That is tough.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why TV shows show one episode a week for an hour. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why a season long of a TV episode is maybe 10 to 12 episodes. Some of them only 6. Go on Disney Plus, and you only get 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Content creation is no joke. And so for someone to be trying to constantly pump out something every single day, and it's like, it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
So I tell people, stick to it. 10 toes down. If you're going to do something, do it. Continue to do it. You may not see immediate success, but I can tell you, being consistent, having a product that people can stand on, goes a lot further than you might think it does. Don't look at your views. I'm just speaking social media. Don't look at your views and think, oh, nobody's really watching, nobody's really listening. Because the views will come. Because it really only takes one. But the second that somebody goes to see your product and it ain't there, oh, you've been lost in the ether.
Yeah.
Like, people will lose track of you really quickly. And so stick to it.
Yeah.
10 toes down.
Yep.
Stay consistent. Don't waver. There will be discouragement. There will be disappointment, but keep pushing.
Yeah.
That's all. I tell myself that every day. Keep pushing.
I have to tell myself that too. Hey, you know what? Hey, you know, be like, you know, us being Panthers fans.
Boy.
Sam Mills said it best when he had cancer. He said, I had cancer, and there was two things I could do. One, I can fold up, or two, I could keep pounding. So I kept pounding. And every time in life I get into a situation, be it trying to figure out my next business move, my next life move, or my next totality move in general, I always remember what Sam Mills, Hall of Famer Sam Mills of the Carolina Panthers and New Orleans Saints said. You can either fold, you got two choices. You can either fold up and give up, or you can keep pounding. I said, I'm going to keep pounding because I don't want to look back years from now and be like, you know what, man? I could have been this, and this only if I didn't give up. Right. And I think that's another thing that keep entrepreneurs alive as well too. About, you know what? I'm so close. I'm so close. I better not give up. You know, I got plenty of friends as entrepreneurs. Man, we ain't gonna start a business. I'm like, you know, I don't know if I'm business. I don't want to say I don't give myself no credit, but I'm real honest with myself. I really don't consider myself a business-minded person, if you will. And sometimes you get around some business-minded people, they start talking to jargon, they start talking to language, then they start looking at you. It's almost in a way, if depending on your level of maturity, you'll be thinking that, man, these people, they're better than me. It's almost intimidating in a way. Okay, well, here I am. I'm over here working this 9 to 5, and he got a business, and they got a business. I'm over here just working a 9 to 5. And I say it to you like this. I know that success, as we spoke upon in the past, is subjective.
Oh, yeah.
It's subjective. Success to some people is $85K a year, some, working that nice job, benefits, moving up the corporate ladder. That's one level of success. Another level of success is working for themselves, creating a product, meeting the demands of a need, and making money off that, and living comfortably. Success is subjective. So I used to kind of get intimidated, but I'm like, no, I'm out here in the atmosphere. What's happening, baby? I mean, what you trying to do? What you want to do? You want to network? You want to collaborate? You want to network? We got going on here. You want to come on a podcast and talk about something? You want me to? I'm more apt to help people now. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a firm believer of the more people you help, the more successful you become.
Yeah. Community over competition is something that a friend of mine says all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the fruits of the labor. I've seen where I could be competing against people out there, and I could be, oh, my product is better, and No, I'm just like, hey, how can I help you do better? And how can you help me do better? And we all can eat.
You know what I call that? You know what I call that, B-Live? And Brad, you'll probably agree because you're from the area. I call that the Houston, Texas business model, where all the rappers will get together and say, man, let's watch all this beef and let's get together and make this money. Everybody go on the track, everybody get together, make an album. And if you look at a lot of rappers from Texas, they don't even leave the state. Because it's so much money right there in the state. Gotta go to New York for what? Man, look, you go to Houston, San Antonio, Galveston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington. Like, you actually have areas where you go perform in the state and make tons of money. So I've paid attention to this model for about 20 years. And Brad, you can agree with that too, right?
Truly, yes, sir.
Yeah. And man, I tell you that I tell people all the time here in Fayetteville, you don't have to go to Raleigh. You don't have to go to Wilmington. You don't have to go to Charlotte. We have so much talent right here in Fayetteville. Community over competition. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, because Zoom is already yelling at me, you know how it does and whatnot. Entrepreneurs, keep your head up. Keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. Keep your mental strong. Everyone, all of our listeners, all of our subscribers, followers, don't ever forget, each and every Wednesday, each and every day, if need be, always, let's check in.
See you next week.
We out. Next week, yes, sir.
We out.
Buy a beanie.
Yes.
Buy a beanie. Buy it now. Stop playing. If your head bald, you know you need one.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.